Hello and welcome. This is my wife Mary and I'm Ed, and we are Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists. We're excited you're joining us today. We present or expound on a principle or belief related to the SDA Sabbath School Quarterly each week. The Sabbath School lesson for this quarter is on the book of Isaiah. This week's lesson is entitled Comfort My People and discusses the beautiful promises of God concerning a time coming of peace and rest for his people. Thursday's lesson is entitled The Problem with Idolatry and focuses on Isaiah 40, 19, and 20. Today we are going to take a look at Isaiah 40 and examine our own understanding of the image of God to see if we may be committing idolatry in the same way the Israelites were in Isaiah's day.
Isaiah 40, 18 through 20 reads, "And to whom will you liken God, and what image will you compare to him? A craftsman makes an idol, and a metalsmith overlays it with gold and fashions silver chains. One who is impoverished offers wood that does not rot, and seeks for a wise craftsman to set up an idol that will not totter." God is asking the Israelites in verse 18 who they think God is. God is not asking the pagan nations this question, but Israel, and specifically the cities of Judah, what they consider the image of God to be. And antitypically, most SDAs know that we are the Israel of today. So as we go through this study, we need to keep these prophetic applications in mind for ourselves as Seventh-day Adventists. Who do we think God is? What do we consider the image of God to be?
After asking the cities of Judah this question, God goes on to tell us what the craftsman, the metalsmith, and the impoverished would say. These are the idol makers. Now, this is interesting because we know that the Israelites were instructed at Sinai against forming idols. In Exodus 20, we read, "You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them." So, why would God tell Judah what idol makers would say? Israel knows better than to do this, right?
Well, God was trying to show the Israelites, and antitypically us, that we are in effect doing the exact same thing as the pagan idol worshippers, albeit in principle rather than actually crafting a physical idol. So how is this? As we can see from the example given, the idolater takes something worthless and covers it with something precious. In this case, a base material is crafted by a man and is then covered with gold in order to make it appear glorious. This base material represents the idea that men have about God. It is an image that they have crafted to represent what they think God's image is. Then this base material needs to be covered with gold to make it appear wonderful. Because truly, the image man makes of God is really, well, to use double entendre, base, meaning it is unprincipled and deplorable in actuality.
For example, many think of God as being outside of space and time. Many think God is an immaterial being that could be everywhere at once. Many think he is all-powerful in a magical way, that he controls everything, etc. I used to think these exact things about God, so I really do understand that way of thinking. However, I have since learned that this view of God is not at all in harmony with the Bible or the teachings of Ellen White and the SDA pioneers. As we have covered in previous videos, the early SDA teaching about God is that he is a material being made up of physical body parts who has thoughts and passions, and who is located within space at one physical location at a time. God, according to our early SDA teachings, has all the power it is possible for him to have, but he doesn't have impossible power. He can't work literal magic.
But if it were true that God was beyond time and space and literally everywhere at once, and that he was able to make reality however he wanted it at the snap of an immaterial finger, we would then have to ask the question, where was God when that woman was being raped? Where was he when that drunk driver killed that child? Where was he when that atomic bomb blew up 74,000 women, children, and elderly people in Hiroshima? Was he in the Nazi concentration camps, divinely allowing mothers and fathers and children to be killed in the gas chambers? If God is magically able to do anything, how could he just sit by and allow these innocent people to be attacked?
So, you can see that although it sounds nice that God is outside of space and time and is everywhere at once and magically able to do anything, it ultimately makes God out to be a deplorable monster because of the things he allows. or even causes to occur in this world. And it is this very idea about God that has caused many to leave the Christian faith, because it is more palatable to believe in no God than a God like this. Unfortunately, most never hear of the true image of God. All they hear about is this idol most Christians and even most SDAs today have made and promote as being worthy of praise.
This is why Zion is called to tell Judah, God's denominated people, the truth about God. Isaiah 40 verse 9 reads, "Go up on a high mountain, Zion, you heraldess. Lift up your voice with strength, Jerusalem, you heraldess. Lift it up. Don't be afraid. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your gods." Again, as we had said earlier, this may seem like a strange thing for Zion or Jerusalem to proclaim to Judah. Obviously, there must be something Judah has wrong about their understanding of the image of God, something that's base about it.
Now in verse 12, God asks us if we have measured the waters in the hollow of our hand, weighed the mountains, or calculated the dust of the earth. No? Verse 13 and 14 then ask us SDAs a critical question. It reads, "Who has estimated the Spirit of Yahweh and the man of his counsel, the prophet, whom she teaches? With whom has he counseled, and to whom has he given understanding, and taught him in the way of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and shows him the path of insight?"
So basically, God is saying, who among us has the authority to dictate who or when or how many prophets God can choose? Does the General Conference have this authority? Because in practice, they have taken it away from God and given it to themselves. God is sending us on a search for his prophets and is requiring that we be able to point them out. Yet the General Conference and the church at large have refused to recognize the prophets God has sent us over and over since 1929. You will not find any quote from Ellen White claiming that she was the last prophet, and the third angel's message gives us every reason to expect that God has sent more prophets since Ellen died.
Verse 15 continues, "Behold, nations are like a drop from a bucket and are regarded as dust on scales. Behold, the coastlands weigh as much as powder, and Lebanon is not enough for kindling. Its wild beasts are not enough for burnt offering. All the nations are as nothing before him, and they are regarded by him as at an end and void." This is saying that there is no power on earth that can compare to the power of the true God.
Verses 23 and 24 read, "He gives dignitaries over to nothingness. The judges of the earth he has made void. Hardly are they planted, hardly are they sown. Hardly has their shoot taken root in the earth. He blows on them and they wither, and the tempest will carry them away as chaff." The powers of darkness, the wicked judges of the earth, as verses 23 and 24 tell us, are barely planted, barely rooted, as opposed to the planting of Israel, which is strongly rooted, as proclaimed by God's herald in Isaiah 61, verse 3, which reads, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me," verse 1, "to console those whom mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified." And Hosea 14, verse 5, which reads, "I will be like the dew to Israel. He shall grow like a lily, and lengthen his roots like Lebanon."
These strong roots come from knowing the truth about the image of God. This is why Zion must proclaim to the cities of Judah, "Behold your gods." It is because Judah has a misunderstanding about the image of God. So, what is the truth about the image of God?
The SDA movement was built on the foundation of materialism. See our study entitled Materialism, Our Forgotten Foundation by Trent Wilde, linked below. It is the understanding that all that exists in reality, even the reality of heaven, is made up of matter, and that this includes God as well. This has profound implications. It means that God is not immaterial, but made up of matter, and is subject to space and time just like we are. It means that God has to choose to act in harmony with material reality, with natural law, just like we do. God has free will. Satan has free will. We will always be able to choose to act out of harmony with truth. God chooses to act in harmony with truth and love. Satan chooses to act according to falsehood and selfishness. We have free will just like they do. We have free will to make atomic bombs, or drink and drive, or to live selfless lives of sacrifice for others like Jesus did, just like his Father does too. This image of God is beautiful, and a God like this is worthy of praise. There is nothing base about someone who is selfless and loving, always acting according to the truth as it is in material reality.
there is something else very profound about the image of God. If we were made in God's image, male and female, like Genesis 1:26 through 28 explains, then the Godhead must be comprised of both male and female persons. Genesis 1:26 through 28 reads, "Then God, or Elohim in Hebrew, the plural word meaning gods, said, 'Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth.' So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female. He created them. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, 'Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth.'"
Notice that both men and women are equally given dominion over the earth. Some try to supersede the obvious meaning of these verses by pointing out the singular masculine pronouns being used in verse 27 in an effort to overthrow the big picture presented here. But it is a fact that biblical Hebrew grammar uses singular masculine pronouns to represent masculine and feminine collectives, like mankind, or Israel, or the Godhead, Elohim, as is the case in Genesis 1. A better, more accurate translation of the Hebrew into English should be, "Then Elohim said, 'Let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness, and give them dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the cattle and over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move on the earth.' Elohim created humankind in their own image. In the image of Elohim, they created them. Male and female, they created them."
Why are these verses not translated in the true spirit in which they were written? Why are these verses not translated true to biblical Hebrew grammar? Because of the preconceived ideas of man about the image of God, idolatry. Some think Elohim refers to a single masculine being. Some people think Elohim refers to an all-masculine Godhead. But these are ideas of man and do not reflect the truth behind these verses. See the link in the description below to our study, The Graciousness of Glory by Trent Wilde, for more information on this.
Again, according to Isaiah 40 verse 9, Zion, or Jerusalem, is supposed to proclaim to the cities of Judah, "Behold your gods." But before that, in Isaiah 40 verse 1, Jerusalem is receiving comfort from her gods, her Elohim. Jerusalem is told that her warfare is ended. Her iniquity is pardoned. She has received double for all of her sins. Now she is to receive comfort from her gods and to proclaim to those in the cities of Judah, "Behold your gods, behold your Elohim."
It is no secret that the Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists have been completely humiliated in front of the whole world at the hands of David Koresh. True, the Branch Davidian Seventh-day Adventists have received double for all of her sins, but her warfare is over now. She has been restored. To learn more about this, please see the book, Waco Untold, How David Koresh Stole the Identity of the Branch Davidians by Doug Mitchell, linked in the description.
But to her has been made known the complete image of the Godhead by the revelation of the Holy Spirit as feminine to Lois Roden, one of the branch prophets. We Branch Davidians are here to proclaim to the rest of the Seventh-day Adventists, "Behold your gods. Behold their true image, male and female, father and mother, and child, and children, a family." We are all invited to be part of this family. We just need to recognize, accept, and join them. This can be kind of a scary thing to do. I mean, who wants to be associated with the Branch Davidians?
Well, we do, and here is why. Isaiah 35 assures us, "Let the desert and dry region be happy. Let the wilderness rejoice and bloom like a lily. Let it richly bloom. Let it rejoice, yes, with rejoicing and shouting. It is given the glory of Lebanon, the splendor of Carmel and Sharon. They will see the glory of Yahweh, the splendor of our gods. Strengthen the hands that have gone limp. Steady the staggering knees. Say to the hasty of heart, be strong, do not fear. Look, your gods come to avenge. With retribution, they come to deliver you. Then blind eyes will open, deaf ears will hear."
We have nothing more to fear. Our warfare has ended. We have the truth about the image of Elohim, the image of our gods. No more idolatry. They are your gods too. This truth follows in progressive truth as it was given to Ellen White and the pioneers, and the prophets and people who have followed on with the progressive revelation of truth after 1929 until today. Our gods, your gods, have come to deliver us all, SDAs, Davidian SDAs, and Branch Davidian SDAs, with fresh messages of truth. We invite you to investigate these claims for yourself through the study links below.
Thank you for staying with us through the entire video. We invite you to visit our website at www.bdsda.com to learn more about who we are and, just as important, who we are not. Please join us each week as we will continue to offer new and interesting insights for your Sabbath School studies. God bless.
Many blessings.